Welcome, fellow truth seekers, to our cosmic corner of the internet. Today, we are honored to bring you a profound and transformative experience with the renowned Andromedan contactee, Alex Collier. But before diving into cosmic wisdom, we kindly ask you to lend your support. Please take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell icon for notifications. Doing so, you help us amplify Alex Collier's knowledge and reach a wider audience. Together, let's ignite the awakening of consciousness around the world. Sit back, relax, and listen to the entire webinar number 26, where Alex covers the current stat, what disclosure looks like, lost alien interaction with people of Earth, and much more.
Welcome. This is JP, your host today for the 26th webinar with Professor Sir Lord Alex Collier with his current stat. How's your current stat, Alex?
Oh, living the dream there, JP, living the dream. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are live from an anonymous bunker in Colorado. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being here. We have a lot of things to cover today. And JP and myself and James were talking earlier about relationships, and I have several friends who are in relationships, and there just seems to be a lot of tension and stress, you know, in and out of the house and in society as a general and around the world. And but I wanted to share a story. You gals will get a kick out of it. The guys, you'll at least chuckle about this, and then we'll get into the business of the day here. And it's about relationships. And this particular story is about a man, a grandfather, who is now 100 years old. And he is celebrating his 100th birthday party with some family and friends. And he was being complimented on his athletic and well-preserved appearance. And at one point he told them, look, I will tell you the secret to my success. He goes, I have been in the open air day after day for some 75 years. He's spent a lot of time outdoors. And they were impressed, and they wanted to know, well, what was it that he was doing? And he told them quite honestly, he goes, look, when I married your grandmother 75 years ago, on our wedding night, we promised each other and made a solemn pledge that whenever we had a fight, the one who was proved wrong would be the one to go outside and take a walk. And that's what I've been doing for 75 years. Okay, so there's a lesson there for everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, there is so much going on in the world, it's kind of hard to keep up with it. Here in the United States, I mean, you would honestly think that they're putting something in the water, because people are acting batshit crazy. They really are. And one of the things that I simply don't understand that occurred yesterday or the night before last happened over at Berkeley University, University of Berkeley, California. As some of you do not know, there is a great deal of angst regarding immigration and refugees. And what's interesting is that most Americans do not know our own history. And this is clearly the truth over at Berkeley, because from 1927 to 1965, there was absolutely zero legal immigration in the United States. And I mean zero. And the reason for that was during the late 1800s, millions upon millions and millions of people were allowed to come into the United States from all over the world. And what they wanted to do was to have those people and their offspring assimilate into the American culture and become the American culture. So for a while, there was no immigration whatsoever. And in 1965, they reopened that and they began to let more people in. Now, Berkeley is a sanctuary university. It is a place where a refugee or an illegal alien, as they call themselves, would find sanctuary. It'd be a place where they could go and be safe. So to me, when we talk about a sanctuary city, a place to be safe, we're talking about sacred ground, okay? And I cannot wrap my head around this. Why would the students then go out there in order to protest free speech or whatever he was going to talk about, but nonetheless it comes down to free speech, would they burn down their sanctuary, their sanctuary college, their sacred ground? Why would they light it on fire? I just cannot wrap my head around this because it shows complete lack of common sense. And of course, there was a great deal of talk about, well, where were the cops? Well, it wasn't until this morning that we find out that the mayor of Berkeley told everyone to stand down, told all law enforcement to stand down. So that whole thing is going to be shaking itself out here shortly. But it's a sign of the times. It's a sign of the times because things are changing. And, you know, there's an old saying, I wonder as I wander. And we are all wandering now because things are changing. We're seeing not only our planet, but the consciousness of the planet, the consciousness of nature. We all know that massive change is coming, and we sense it on many different levels. And we're going to talk about that today. And we're going to talk about first contact, and we are also going to talk about the lost history of people's contact with extraterrestrials. And I'm not only going to be referring to the Elohim and the Anunnaki and the reptilians, okay, but there are many other groups, small, very, very small groups that are here on the planet, scattered throughout the planet, okay? But before we get there, there's a couple things I wanted to bring out that are incredibly noteworthy. And this first one is January 7th of 1943, an amazing person passed away. He was an American citizen, and his name was Nikola Tesla. And when he passed away in the Hotel New Yorker, the FBI went in and took all of his papers, his books. They went to his other hotel rooms, his laboratory, and essentially took everything. They confiscated everything, and they moved it to secure warehouses and storage facilities. They then hired a man, an MIT professor who was an electrical engineer, to go through all of Tesla's papers and all of the equipment that he had, and to tell them, what was it? What's it all about? How does it work, etc. Now, what's fascinating about this is that the MIT professor that they brought in to look at all of this technology, and it was all about energy. It's all about energy technology, was a gentleman by the name of John G. Trump, who in fact is the uncle of our now president, Donald Trump. Yes, he is the brother of Donald Trump's father. Professor Trump passed away in 1985, but apparently he's had many, many conversations with his nephew about all kinds of interesting things. And I thought that that was a fascinating thing, because there is an awful lot of chatter about how technology is going to be released under this administration. Technology that's been suppressed, technology that may or may not be rediscovered. We may not ever really know, but nonetheless exists on the planet already. And I just thought that that was fascinating. And I think that that's something we all need to be aware of, and something we should all keep our eye on, because the background is there, the knowledge is there, and there could be a lot more to that. It could be that in Tesla's notes, he talked about extraterrestrial technology. I'm sure it's all going to be coming out here shortly. Okay. So anyway, I thought that was newsworthy. So I'm sharing that with you. And that information, by the way, comes out of Wikipedia. Okay. So here's something else that's fascinating. During World War II, all over the planet, the navies were fighting either the Germans or the Japanese. Okay, the French, the Italians, the Americans, the British, etc. Okay. But what's fascinating, even Russians, what's absolutely fascinating is that many of those shipwrecks that were there up until 6 months ago are now gone. They are vanishing. Okay, shipwrecks of battleships, tankers, and they're all disappearing off the floor of the ocean. This is happening not only in the Atlantic, but also the Pacific. And there is absolutely no explanation, because, you know, many of these ships are incredibly deep in the ocean, too deep to be rescued or brought up. So it isn't us. Militaries are going back just to remap these areas, because you know, they're more or less monuments to those that were on those ships that gave their life. But now those ships are gone. And that is something I think is also fascinating, because who has the technology to do this? It's clearly not us. So someone else is removing these ships. Something else to be mindful of and to keep an eye on. There are several different gravity waves hitting our solar system. They are moving throughout the galaxy, but they're hitting particularly our solar system. We have a gravity wave coming from the black hole below the central sun, which is hitting the entire galaxy. We have gravity waves that are being created from outside our galaxy that are moving in. They're hitting us first because we are in the boonies, we're in the outskirts of our galaxy. We also have small gravity waves coming from Nibiru, whether anyone believes it's there or not. They're also hitting the planet. And apparently some of these gravity waves are also showing up in Venus's atmosphere, which I think is fascinating. Now, what's interesting about these gravity waves is what it does to conscious behavior. And we were, JP and I and James were talking about this while we were waiting to go on, about how people are just, many people seem to be beside themselves. They're very, very stressed out. They are very tense. They seem like they're under an enormous amount of pressure. They can't explain it. They're quick to go off and to lose their temper. I've had teachers, one in California and another one, a young man that we correspond with, who's in England, who's a teacher, talk about how the students are having these meltdowns, and they're just like that, and they have these meltdowns. Some are completely unexpected, some are for absolutely unknown reasons. Well, part of that has to do with these gravity waves. You know, we're also seeing earthquakes all over the planet, and we know that they're growing in frequency. We see strange things in the weather. And with nature, nature is beginning to act out of sorts. But there's a new little wrinkle here on this. What has come with the gravity waves is electrons. Now, what's interesting is that around the Earth's geomagnetic field, surrounding it, are electrons. Now, these electrons, which is condensed energy, these electrons are moving no less than the speed of light around our planet. So let me just say this again. These electrons are moving around the Earth's geomagnetic field on the outside at no less than the speed of light, which means this is the speed of light. This is the constant we've always thought that it was, okay? But now some are moving faster. They're measuring beyond the speed of light. Now, if you will go back into the notes of the A's and things that they've talked about, and there may be other contactees who have talked about this, and I'm not honestly sure about that. But I know the A material, and that's why we're talking about it. They said that faster than the speed of light travel has always been here. We don't see it because we can only measure light based on the speed and the ability of how fast we think. So the speed at which a thought passes through our mind is the speed of light. Well, apparently, we're doing things right, because now science is beginning to see beyond the speed of light, which means we are thinking faster. We are expanding. We are evolving. We are increasing our space and our perception of consciousness so that we can now see and perceive beyond the speed of light. Ladies and gentlemen, this is big news. This is a really, really good thing. Okay? And it's also something else that needs to be paid attention to, because this means that we will be able to begin to absorb more knowledge and more information. Now, the beautiful thing about this, in addition to expansion of consciousness, which of course we clearly need on this little planet of ours, is the fact that there are many, 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 many people on this planet who can channel higher dimensional energy. Some of them heal, some of them are psychics, some of them are engineers, some are gurus, some are designers. There's really no label that you can actually put on this. Musicians, okay, just to name a few, they pull this, all of them pull this information from somewhere, and they're able to bring it down into third density and create physicality, create a change in physicality, such as a healing. They are able to bring it down and use third density musical instruments to create sound with it, etc., etc., etc. You get the idea, okay? Well, now we're moving into a whole new realm because we are able to see and think beyond the speed of light. So it is not that, we're sitting there looking at, how fast the sunlight moves across. We don't even have to. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we don't even have to, because we're antennas. Our physical bodies are antennas. We receive energy and knowledge and information from the universe anyway, whether we want to or not. It's just that if you're paying attention, you're consciously aware of it. You are consciously aware of the knowledge or the thoughts that pass through, or your perception about seeing things that you didn't see before. You're aware of those things occurring to you every single day now, or the increase of this. And it's more or less, you go with the flow. Well, the flow is moving really fast now. And those of us who are awake and who are paying attention, we're moving with the flow. It could be that many of these people on the planet that appear to be like losing it, it could be that the energy is just so high that they simply don't know what to do. They don't know how to express it. They don't know what to think of it. They don't know how to feel it or allow it to move. They just feel this enormous pressure coming down on top of them. The suggestion I have for all of them would be to ground. If you can't deal with high frequency, it's because you're not grounded. So you can let it move through you. So it would be something where they would need to be doing, especially in schools, maybe they need to spend more time outside. To be grounded in nature, doing something that has to do with nature, whether it's sitting on the ground, planting a tree. Well, it's winter here, so you can't do that. But in other places, things that have to do with moving their physical body in nature, around trees, grass, soil, creeks, streams, okay, places where they can ground. To answer those several emails, okay? There's just so many extraordinary things that are coming up, and it's taking a while for science to even talk about it because they can't explain it. And, they're kind of like the government. They don't want you to know that they don't know something. Okay? They don't want you to know what they don't know. Because they put out this persona where, we're all the PhDs. We have all these degrees. Look at my wall. Da, 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 da. I have all the answers, when in fact they really don't. So this is an extraordinary time to deal with stuff. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, we'll save the best for last. Now, I'm going to talk about the lost history of contact with other races. We know about some. We know about the Anunnaki. We know about the Orions. We know about the reptilians. We know about the mantises. We know about Quetzalcoatl from the Mayans. We know about the Elohim, the Nephilim. Okay, those stories are shared through the Old Testament of the Bible. Much of it is. Not all of it. But then we go into what is called mythology. Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, etc. Except it's really not mythology, okay? It is, in fact, grounded in a true history of knowledge of an interaction between human beings and other beings from different worlds. Some of them are human, or at least look human, and others are not. They are of different races, different body types, different types of DNA, etc. The Greys is another example from Zeta 1, Zeta 2. Okay? And some of that knowledge has been passed down to us, but not all of it. Much of it has been hidden from humanity. And that was done on purpose. And that was to not allow humanity to have the conscious knowledge that it is not alone. Now, the real reason for that is twofold. The first is to isolate humanity, to isolate the race on the planet. When you isolate the race on the planet and you establish a hierarchy, seen hierarchy, and then the unseen hierarchy, and then on top of it, you tell everyone that there is an unseen God, okay, who is loving and forgiving, but is also very vengeful and will throw you into an abyss of fire forever if you don't do what you're told. So you are essentially setting up a structure of absolute obedience and AKA slavery, okay? And this was done for control, for manipulation. And it worked very, very well for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And in many places of the world, it's still working, okay? Now, that history, that knowledge, having been put for many, many years into an area known as mythology, is that we were told it's just a story. Okay, it's just a story. But the religions have continued with an all-knowing, all-seeing God who protected the Israelis, who drowned the pharaohs, that picks and chooses who's right, who's wrong, and if you are not obedient, you will go to hell, etc., etc., etc. You get you get the drill. Well, I want you to know this, that those gods are extraterrestrial beings. Okay, they are not the being, the creator, that created the holograph, which is the universe we see, and the universe is stacked on top dimensionally what we don't see. That's not what we're talking about here. Okay, whatever that entity is, that essence is, which we will never understand, at least not here in third, or fourth, or fifth, or sixth, or seventh, or eighth, because they are still searching for what that is. Okay? So we clearly are not going to know here. Those are extraterrestrial beings. Okay? So that interaction, that history has been shrouded or altered or manipulated. So that history of that interaction has been manipulated into something that we should be fearful of. Because again, it's all about control and manipulation of humanity. Now, there are groups of many different races on Earth that have been here for some time. Most were given sanctuary just before the destruction of Atlantis. Some were given sanctuary because they lived on Lemuria when it started to sink or was attacked. They were given sanctuary to go to different places on the planet. And usually the places that they went to were areas where there were very few humans, okay, us. That's where they wanted to go. They wanted to be left alone, okay? If you research this, then you know about the incredibly interesting sightings that have occurred in Central America, South America, North America, in places in Mexico, where there are places where no one goes, or few go, because the locals there know that there's something there that's not us. The Native Americans knew about this here in North America. China, in northern China and along the Mongolian border, parts of southern Russia, even northern Russia, there are stories about beings who are not us that live in gorges and valleys, in underground cave areas. They're not us. And the locals know it, and they stay away. They don't mess with these beings. Now, during the Vietnam War, and in the jungles of Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, the militaries of both the United States, the British, the Australians, the South Vietnamese, the North Vietnamese, the Russians, and even some Chinese that were observers, they had interactions in the darkest parts of the jungle with some of these lost groups. And I say lost because even some of the locals didn't know that some of these groups were there. And they were hiding, basically trying to survive, to remain hidden from the world at large. Now, some of the groups that had negative interaction with our military there, I am told, of the last of their kind. And there's one particular group that was hiding in gorges along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Now, they were there long before the Ho Chi Minh Trail was even built, okay? But they stayed secluded in their canyons, in their gorges. And it wasn't until the war came to those areas that they came out and they pushed back, okay? Now, we know some of this has gotten out because when those teams came out, those units came out of those areas, they were usually chased out, and they were, calling for pickup for emergency evacs, or emergency taskers were given to remove them, to get them out of these areas, because there was no VC there. In fact, the VC was already smart enough, the Viet Cong, they were already smart enough to know, to not go into those areas. because again, they were the locals. They knew there were things in there, beings in there who weren't us, and they didn't want any part of this. But the Americans didn't know this. So we treaded into areas we had no business going into, looking for them, but found something else. Well, when they were picked up and evac'd, they would talk to themselves, amongst themselves, and the pilots about what they saw. And of course, when they were debriefed, they were told not to say anything. So secrecy came down on top of it. And these areas were then mapped by the Central Intelligence Agency about where there are these groups, okay? I share this with you because there were groups, things that were called rock apes. There are others where they have no name for them, but they were about 8.5 feet tall. They were yellow-skinned. They had 3 fingers with claws on them, with talons, and they were enormous, 700, 800, 900 pounds. They were believed they would break small trees as they were running through the forest, chasing our GIs as they were trying to get the hell out of the area. They had flat faces. Some had single eyes like a cyclops. Others had 2. They were ferocious, absolutely ferocious. My point is this. These interactions occur even to this day in different parts of the world. Hikers who go into an area of the woods, and then all of a sudden there's absolute dead silence. Not a bird, not a cricket, nothing. And sometimes if those people are smart and they're paying attention, they turn right around because they know this is not normal, and they book out of there, okay? Others who don't know disappear. This happens here in the United States and in Canada in the national park areas. This happens frequently, and people vanish because they've moved into an area that isn't where there's beings that are not us. When it comes time for all of these beings to leave, it's going to be complicated. And that time is coming where it's just going to be us. But it's going to be complicated because the assistance of us is going to be necessary. These beings that I just shared with you, the 8-foot-tall, yellow-skinned, they are one of the last of their kind. And the A's don't really have a way to explain who they are or to even give you a name of who they are, because they don't even come from our galaxy. Okay, as best as they can state, there are between 8 and 14 of these particular beings living in the jungles of Southeast Asia, predominantly North Vietnam, along the Cambodian-Laotian border. The locals know about them, but they don't mess with them. They have to try to figure out, what do we do with these beings? Because they live in another galaxy. And they're not sure if they even know where they come from anymore. They would need to be taken to someplace. This is all being sorted out as we speak. As you know, we are fighting amongst ourselves, as we are evolving, and we are trying to let go of old systems of control and domination and manipulation that are not only our governments, our elected officials, but religions, unseen influences such as the reptilians, the Orion group, the Anunnaki. There are multi-level things going on here, okay? And what complicates it is our lack of knowledge about the structure that surrounds and lives around us all the time. Because we don't know about it doesn't mean it isn't there, okay? Yes, ignorance is bliss to a point, but as we are evolving in consciousness and our perception is opening up and we are being able to see more and to take more in and process more information, more knowledge about ourselves, it's also going to involve those things that are not us, okay? Because unbeknownst to us, we are having a symbiotic relationship with all these other things, whether we know it or not, whether we're aware of it or not, we're aware of them or not, okay? The earth knows, and we are in relationship with her. That doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to access this data, this information. And as we increase in consciousness, as we increase in perception and knowledge, as we continue to use technology. I mean, the invention of the cell phone has done incredible things in documenting that which we didn't know existed, okay? From UFOs to animals to oceanography to things in the forests, from bears to Bigfoots to extraterrestrial groups, bizarre life forms. You know, none of this stuff is here by accident. It was either put here, brought here, it asked to come here for sanctuary to hide from something else. And my point is, everything has a story. And including us, we all have our stories. We all have our pasts. We all have our histories. These things are no different. But now that our consciousness is expanding, all of these things from the peripheral are going to be coming into view. And it's going to be fast and furious. And this next year, holy cow, folks, it's going to be something. It is going to be nothing short of a whirlwind. It really is. There is going to be so much data. There is going to be so much information to process that if you're not evolving, if you are not open, if you are not paying attention to the frequency, to the flow of energy that is moving in, through, and around the planet, you're going to be screwed. You're just not going to be able to deal with it, okay? And I believe that we're beginning to see some of that happening now. And my suggestion is, even those of us who are awake, even me, who has some knowledge about what's going on, a little bit, I have to go out and ground myself and just process it, okay? It's not just about, you know, our work in our cities. I mean, that's important too. And it's important to do whatever you can and have to keep all of this in perspective. Okay, your jobs, your family, your children, your countries, your government, your faith, your spirituality. We have gotten into a terrible habit, many of us, of compartmentalizing all of these pieces, okay? But we can't do that anymore. We have to now integrate all of this into a movement of energy, because we have to ride that energy now into wherever it's taking humanity. And I mean that, humanity. We have to all integrate this into a path that this energy is taking humanity. As information comes out from the depths of the oceans, from Antarctica, from Alaska, the pyramids that have been covered with ice and glaciers all these years, as this information is being brought forth, we're going to go through a stage where we're going to look in the mirror and we're going to be telling ourselves, shit, everything I've been taught is wrong. And it's not necessarily that it's been wrong. It's been purposely incomplete, okay? It has been purposefully incomplete. Because we're going to realize that a lot of this information and knowledge has been known for some time. But it's been withheld. It's been purposefully given to us incomplete. And we're going to need to move through that blame and just get to, okay, what does it mean for humanity now? For example, let's just take pyramids in Alaska. We'll start there for, okay? As the ice melts because the weather's shifting, what does that mean to me? Well, it means historically, there's a lot more history to America than we've ever been led to believe. It also means that the bullshit that we were fed, that the Jews built the pyramids of Egypt because they were slaves and they were going to be used as tombs for the pharaohs, is absolute rubbish, okay? And those who fed us that crap have known all along that it was rubbish. So pyramids in Alaska means more history. History we didn't know anything about. Now, the fact that it's on the Pacific doesn't mean that those pyramids are connected to the ancient continent that's in mythology, Lemuria, in the Pacific. Does it connect to those ruins and statues we have in Easter Island? Is there a connection to that history and the pyramids of Alaska? Or does it all go to Atlantis? The information we'll probably be getting out of Antarctica is that it's connected to Atlantis. I want to remind you that there were 3 continents, 3 very large islands that made up Atlantis, okay? In fact, there really wasn't an Atlantic Ocean. There were apparently rivers that separated the land masses at one time. So there is more than just Antarctica. We just don't have it all yet. We don't have all the pieces. The perception that humanity has of itself is dramatically going to change. As this information that's been withheld comes forward, it has to come forward, and it's going to come forward. The information regarding extraterrestrial races and their point of origin will be coming forward. The technology they use to scoot around the galaxy, electrical systems, hypertravel systems, hyperdimensional travel systems, the concepts of hyperdimensional space, of dimensions, vortexes, All of that information is going to be coming forward, and actually has been through other researchers, such as Hoagland and many, many, many others. The point is that this information is all going to be coalescing now. It's all going to be coming forward, and we are going to have to take this information and integrate it into our perception of who we are. Now, in taking that information and going with it and integrating it into how we see ourselves, it is absolutely imperative that humanity remember this and know this. This is about us. It is not about the Anunnaki. It is not about these small groups from another galaxy. It is not about the Greys. It is not about the Archons. This is about us. This is about humanity taking a step forward, opening up its perceptions, thinking faster than the speed of light, evolving into another dimensional shift from third to fourth to fifth. That's what this is about. This is about us as a collective humanity coming together and saying, okay, here's our past, here's our history, here's our present. What about our future? It is about taking all of this, integrating it, and then deciding where we're going to go collectively as a race into the future. And I mean creating that future. And it all comes back to this. What do we want? What do we want? Do we truly want to be totally self-confident and free, to unconditionally be responsible for ourselves without accepting some higher authority? Do we actually want this? Do we actually want to be free? Can we be free? Do we know what it's going to take to be free? And can we accept responsibility for it? Okay? That's where this is going. This is about us. This is not about them. The interrelationship that we have with the knowledge, with the history, with those that we're going to be meeting, and we need to be leery, okay? We need to be leery. We need to really, really perceive how we think and how we feel when we begin to meet these other races, or we begin to see their bodies, okay, frozen in ice, about their skeletons, because some of these beings are incredibly tall, and on average 14 to 18 feet. There are some who are 26. There are some who are 45. There are even 80-foot beings, skeletal remains on this planet. Hard to conceive, but they came here from somewhere and they were alive when they got here. Okay, and that means there's more out there like them. Things are really going to be starting to shift. Things are really going to be moving. The information is going to be fast and furious. There may not be a lot of time to process. Some of us will handle that better than others. But in the back of your mind, I want you all to be thinking about this. Okay? I want you to be saying this to yourself. I am a sovereign spiritual being. I am a sovereign and spiritual being. I am not the property of anyone. Just because I'm in this physical form that may or may not have been created by someone else, that does not mean I am their property. I am a sovereign spiritual being. You'll know soon why we're going here today. Okay, you will know soon. Now, we have talked earlier, previous webinars, about your soul, your spiritual essence, that part of you that's forever, is a quantum field. Okay, and I have said this to you over and over and over again, that we're a quantum field, that the soul, that part of you that is multidimensional, is a quantum field. January 22nd of this year, scientists published a paper stating that they now believe that DNA begins as a quantum wave. Okay, as a quantum wave, a quantum field. DNA starts out as a quantum field. You as the soul, okay? You, me, all of us that contain soul carry with us a map, a multi-dimensional map of who we are, where we've been, where we come from. And that means that even though we're here, I'm going to use this flashlight. I'm going to put this on the wall and see if I can, okay, I'm going to see if I can make this work here. Okay. This is where we are now, okay, how we perceive ourselves in the physical form. Okay, but fourth density, fifth density, sixth, seventh. Now, when you realize the fact that you are, in fact, a quantum field, a map, a multidimensional map, a location of consciousness, and that you came from all that is, all of this information and knowledge is still available to you, even though you are here. You can, and many people do this when they travel at night. They do out-of-body, or they use exercise or do a work with a shaman. They travel at night to different places, different dimensions. This is what you're tapping into. You are tapping into that which you already know. And you are choosing to remember. Okay? You can pull all this information to you here and ground it in Earth, on Earth, to use in your life, to use in your neighborhoods, to use on your continent, to channel it into the planet. We can ground spiritual energy on this planet that is unfathomable to all the other beings that are here. Okay? And changing the frequency of this planet with this higher spiritual frequency will force anything that is here that is not for our highest good to adios. They will have no choice but to go, because the frequency will melt them. It's going to be so high. That's what's happening. That's why it is so important when I share with you about going into nature that you ground yourselves. Okay, when you ground yourselves, you can pull this information into you. Whether you're aware of it or not, you are pulling in this multidimensional energy to you because you are a quantum field. Okay? Your DNA proves that you're a quantum field. Okay? You are a multidimensional being that goes all the way to the very top, to source. You just have to remember it. You just have to perceive it. And you have to make the decision that you will become all of that you are. that you are not just this. You have, because of the incomplete knowledge that we've been given and all the other programming, we have narrowed our field to this. But in fact, there is no limit to our field. We just perceive it as this. Okay? Well, now that we're thinking faster than the speed of light, and we can perceive it, okay, the fence has come down. The wall has come down once and for all. It is now time for humanity to step back into your own personal power. Okay? And only you can do that. I can't make you do it. I can't even show you how to do it. Okay? I can only do it for me. Once I have come to the realization, holy shit, okay? I'm this. I am this. I can't even reach how big I really am. Why do I think I'm this? Well, I don't anymore. Okay, I don't anymore. You know, I keep working on this because there are so many different ways to say this. And I have it inside, but I can't find words. Okay? When I'm with the A's, let's see, when I'm with the A's, I'm here. I'm in this. And when I come back from being with them in fifth density, okay, my space gets smaller and smaller until I'm this. And it's hard. It is really hard. And for those of you who have these experiences, when you're away from them for a while, it's hard to go from that to this because you feel it. And you feel stuck. You do. You feel stuck. Okay? And then they come back and you go, oh, thank God. Thank God. Now I'm this again. Okay? And I'll just tell you straight away, I want to be this all the time. I really do, because it's chill. It's chill. There's no stress. There's no drama. There's just being. There is just being. You know, you're lit up like a Christmas tree, and you're dialed. You're chill. It's amazing. It's just amazing. But you know, we're all here. We're all here, or many of us are here. Okay, but this is what's happening now. This is what's happening. We're all expanding, whether we want to or not, kicking or screaming. This is what's happening. All right, we are moving into fourth. Many of us are there. We're moving into fourth, but now that the wall of light, of the limitation of the speed of light. See, many of us don't even think this. We don't even know that it's a limitation. Okay, but what happens is it's affecting the brain. The body is an antenna. Our physical DNA is an antenna picking up information, cosmic waves. This information is all available to you. All you have to do is perceive it. Open the window and say, I want to know. I want to know. I want to know what this is. I want to know who I was. I want to know who I am. And as you continue to do that, their wish, your wish is their command. They have to, the universe has to respond in light, and you will begin to expand in the wall. Okay? This next year is going to be, we're going to be pedal to the metal. People are going to be floored. You know, people are going to be floored. I hope you found this interesting. We'll be doing some more of this in the next one. We're going to continue on this. It's great stuff, and it's an absolute honor for me to share this with you and to, you know, grow with all of you and evolve with all of you. And you know, during my lectures back in the early 1900s, I used to kid about, you know, when we all graduate, we're going to have a party, and I'm bringing the booze. I'm bringing the booze.
What's your tipple?
Huh?
What's your favorite tipple?
My favorite tipple? Well, currently it's just honey mead. That's what I do
Mead.
occasionally.
We've been talking about mead. Oh man, we have a little group in on Full Spirit that is following a particular radio series that's on our station, and there's a whole thing about the 15th century. That we're all, one of them had a reading, and we're all part of this soul group that he remembers from this 15th century scenario. And yeah, a couple of them were the barmaids, and they drank them. You know, they served us the mead. So there's a big thing about mead. It's big at the moment.
Well, there's obviously I'm part of your soul group.
Of course you are. Of course you are. I mean, this soul group involves people, you know, like George Harrison and people, you know, quiet people that are personages that you'd recognize.
Okay, interesting.
It's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay, all right. So, question 1 from our dear Anna Balboa. What Alex will do. Alex, what would you do if you were given the chance to get back with your family, soul tribe, brother and sister, and go back or stay, or go back and go, presumably to go back to Andromeda, or to stay in Earth to assist the ones who are not yet awake? What will you do in that instance? Would you join your tribe or stay to assist your loved ones still? Alex, would you dump us for if you had picked up, or no? You know, we're all in it, aren't we? For till it's not long.
I'm absolutely committed to our Earth tribe, our Earth human tribe. I am absolutely committed to this project, to this program. This is what I signed up for. And I can always go back to that. I'm eternal. I can always go back to that, you know. But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take a tribe from 3rd density, move it through 4th into 5th. You know, that's not an experience everyone has. It's incredibly rare. And I'm down. I'm down with this mission. I am. I'm here for however long I'm in this physical body, and I can keep it alive and keep it working. You know, I'm down with this. So I'm not going to bail. Absolutely not going to bail. Okay,
and you remember you talked about this this healing machine that the A's have, a holographic healing machine. Since we don't quite have one at the moment, if everybody could imagine Alex in a nice, fit 34-year-old body, in its pure and perfect condition.
I'd take 40. I'll take 40.
Yeah, no, come on. No, you know, wouldn't it be nice to be 34? Just that little bit of energy. Remember that? Oh yes. Anyway, I could ride bicycle. You know. Anyway, so let's Mike Kelly. Your mate Mike Kelly.
Oh boy.
Here we go. Large swathes of America are still easily manipulated and soundly asleep. Many on the other side are natural warriors awake. What do you think it will take for the sleepers to ignore the mass media and wake up so we can move into the next phase without violence?
Betrayal.
Betrayal.
Yeah, betrayal, and it's coming. Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
It's the big one.
The betrayal from the media is coming, and in fact, it's already being uncovered. So it's just it's going to be different triggers for different groups, you know. But it's coming, and it's already happening. It really is, and we just have to be patient. You know, those of us who are at the head of the line, we're like, come on, let's go now, hurry up. It's, you know, it's like, you know, it's like you go to the grocery store with your entire family, and you know, you've got your basket full, and you're at the cashier, and you're like, well, where the hell is everybody? You know, come on, let's go home. That's what it is, and I get that. But you know, we just have to be patient. But it's coming, and they're coming. They're moving along. Much of the world is happening. It's just that 20%, at least here in the States, that 20%, the whiners and the criers and the snowflakes, you know, they are kicking and screaming. But, you know, in truth, they are running out of things to kick and scream about. As the truth is coming out about their heroes and about the politics and the pedophilia and all of that, believe me, when that hits home, Mr. Kelly, it is going to hit like a hammer, and they will flip. They will flip just like that. I mean, look at how many people that you 15 years ago that you knew that you could never talk about this stuff to. You know, many of them are on board. Many of them are right behind you. Some are even ahead of you. So it's happening. See, that's the thing about time. Because we live in time, everything doesn't happen all at once. It happens in time. Okay? So we just have to deal with it. Thank you for your question, Mr. Kelly. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and it's kind of brought up a bit of chat in the chat room there as about this sense of impatience that you remember 1993, Alex Collier, 1999, Alex Collier, every time we thought it's just around the corner, but we know that these guys have been using time travel and super technology to actually kick the can down the road, and this is the point when it goes no further. There's no leeway left in being able to manipulate time, because time itself is at an end.
The benevolents have come in and taken the can away, so now there's nothing to kick.
Nothing's going. Yeah, and there's a very large ass-kicking circle going on, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Even a one-legged man can kick his own ass now.
I love that phrase, busy in a one man. Anyway, all right. So, I might come back to that second question, Mike, but I'm gonna go through a few, and third.
Let's give some of the other children a chance.
Yeah. How many from Jeff? Through how many dimensions must we ascend before evil cannot permeate the screen? When can we just relax? And
fifth density. That's the wall. The duality hits the wall at fifth. There's nothing more to that. I'm sorry. The duality hits the wall at fifth.
Okay. So they're really. So you're saying that there are no six-dimensional badasses?
No, I'm not aware of that at all. And it is nothing like what's here. No. There may be people who do something stupid, but it isn't with malice. Right. It isn't for control and domination. That is just not the consciousness that exists there. That's the wall. It's at fifth. So, but here on 3 and 4, this is the proving grounds. This has been the proving grounds for some time, and that's changing. That is changing. The program has been changed. The rules have been changed as well, and that's why we're getting all the assistance. Yep.
Thanks.
Game over. Game over for the bad guys. They had their run. Trillion years. They had their run. It's over now. They've had plenty of time to evolve. Now they go back to being a rock and starting over. Okay.
Elements. Try again. Okay. Now, from Roz, if Nibiru or Nairobi is a spaceship, why can't it control where it goes as to not cause issues for Earth? Yeah. Do I really care? Yeah. It's just like a bunch of bikers riding through your town.
I don't know that the actual planet itself is a spaceship, but you have to remember that this is a solar system, and this solar system evolves around a dwarf star, which is a very real star, and it has an orbit. And these planets are attached to this star. This is just something that happens. That's cyclical. It happens. And you know, it's funny you bring this up. There are astronomers out of Russia and Poland, and astrophysicists who apparently are coming clean, saying that they've seen the data that was shown to them by the Russians, and that one of the moons of Nibiru was supposed to hit the Earth. I want you to know that's not going to be allowed to happen. That can be adjusted. But to just make this thing do something else and go somewhere else, it has ramifications to other star systems. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if this can be resolved. If we can move Earth into fifth, then we don't need to deal with this shit. End of story, right? So that's a great question. I just know that this thing is real, and it's here, it's coming, and we're going to have to deal with it, you know. But we're going to have assistance. This is not doom and gloom. It's not anymore. There are going to be changes, but change is good. It can be real good, you know, because it forces people to grow. It forces people to change their perspective. It forces people to become more creative, more industrious, to go into themselves and think about what it is that they need that's really more important to them than the goddamn television and video games. You know, it's just and surrendering their energy to an entity or entities that don't really exist. It's change is good because it forces people to focus back within. And God, is that something that our humanity is sorely lacking. So, you know, maybe this is the reason why it's all happening the way it is. It's forcing humanity to get off the pot, you know. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and there are people in groups, soul groups at different levels, you know. It's so easy to second guess or to armchair quarterback other groups. But the question is, do we have our shit together? You know, do we really have our shit together yet? And I don't think we do. So, you know, that's where I go back to, you know, do I have my shit together? And I'm still working on my shit. So I'm, you know, all I can do is me and those around me and those that I love. That's all I can really do. That's all I can't even control that, but that's all I can do. So that's what it is.
Thank you. Okay, a different tack from Elaine. Is it possible that black holes disguise alien cities and are used to hide and protect these cities?
Interesting. Very interesting concept. The $64,000 question is, when information or matter goes into the black hole, actually goes in and is dissolved, is it lost? Does it even exist? I'm told that the energy and the knowledge is never lost. Now the theory is that along the rim, the plate of the black hole is where the knowledge is. If they were going to hide anywhere, that's where they would be. It would be on the plane, the plate that evolves around the actual hole. I'm not aware that matter can exist once it goes into the hole. So if it was anywhere around the black hole, it would be around the surface, the plate of the black hole. So Elaine, that's the only way I know how to answer that question. Okay. I will write this question down and I will ask more in A. Okay.
On a similar question with our old friend Mike, he says, last May you discussed the mirage traps that people were falling into, and you discussed how the regressives could recreate nature visually, but not in terms of sound. Can you elaborate on the implications of this in terms of our visual versus auditory senses regarding our soul? Only answer if you won't get in trouble. That was the last bit.
I was wondering, Mike gets a lot of questions in. Does he have draft picks or something?
I don't know. He's got like several.
Is he buying slots?
I think yeah, that's right. He's sponsored by Mike Kelly, you know.
And Mike, you know I'm just messing with you. But maybe he's got extra draft picks. I don't know. I truly do not know how to answer that question.
Okay.
JP, can you email me that question, or Mike, email me that question and let me work with it, okay? And I will make a point to answer that question in 2 weeks. Okay? Okay, we're good. Let's go to the next one.
All right. So a very easy question for you. Brian asks, Alex, what's that medallion you're wearing around your neck? You're looking good today, buddy.
Oh, thank you. It's the fleur-de-lis.
You were talking about this a while ago.
I'm a musketeer. I'm a musketeer, except I'm not serving the king. I'm protecting the people.
With your muskets in your ears. Lovely. So,
I didn't say a musketeer. I said a musketeer. A knight. They were knights. They were just called musketeers, but they were knights.
Right.
And I resonate to that.
Yeah. All right. So going back to the grounding thing, Roz is complaining that she lives in New Hampshire where there are ticks everywhere. So are there alternative solutions to going out in forests where there might be ticks?
Roz, what about? Okay, well, I know it's winter there, so you know you're not ticking now.
People are complaining about 30 feet of snow or something.
Oh, sure. I mean, I get that. You could just be sitting by a window and being really quiet, just turning off all the lights in the house and just lighting a candle by the window, or on a porch, an enclosed porch. When the weather's nice, instead of sitting on the ground, because I don't want you to get ticks, what about a hammock? Or what about just sitting on a branch of a tree? Climb a tree and just, sit on a branch. And maybe that's not even doable. I don't know. Or parking your car somewhere with the windows open and just listening. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. It's being in the silence, where it's so quiet that at some point you actually begin to hear your own frequency. That's what I'm talking about. Have you ever actually heard your own frequency? 90% of the people haven't. They haven't even thought that they had a frequency. But they do. We all do. Okay? And when you get to that place, when you know your frequency, then you know your own thoughts. Okay? You can't be controlled or manipulated that way, because you know your own thought. You know your own frequency. And if something comes in that isn't you, you'll know. Okay? That ends mind control. It ends manipulation. But you have to know your own frequency. And everything is frequency. Everything. Everything. This table, this laptop, what you guys are sitting on at home, everything is color, light, and sound. That's it. Arranged into different forms and atoms and electrons to form physicality. But when you break it all down, everything, including this, it's color, light, and sound. It's no harder and no less, no simpler and no less than that. That's what it is. We create it with our intent. We create the physicality around us with our intent and with our minds. Okay? That's what makes it happen. That's what makes it happen. We are more powerful than we can possibly even imagine. And it's time we begin to start imagining that. It really is. Because, you know, I'm done being screwed with. I don't know about you, but I'm done. I am so done with it. Okay? But that's me. That's me. Okay.
Okay, well, we got it was just a few minutes left, and I want to kind of concentrate a few questions together. But there's a load of questions about Trump, right? One of them is about why did Donald Trump suddenly introduce this whole fake news phenomenon? And actually, I don't think it's Trump that does it. Is the reason Donald Trump wants to go in and steal our national parks because of the alien presence there? Is the Trump takeover alien or human, or maybe a hybrid of the two? Yeah, there's just like, what do you think of Trump?
Okay, thank you.
How long you up?
At 1:30, there's somebody behind me.
All right, so you got to get going.
I do. As far as Trump, the fake news, look, most of us know we've been lied to all along anyway. We knew it in school. We knew it in church. We were being lied to. Many of us intuitively knew. You know, he's not a politician. He's not an establishment guy. He's basically a rogue. And now, so he's just telling it like it is. He just is. I don't have to agree with everything. Nobody does. But he's clearly got a pair of cojones on him. And I have to admit, I'm admiring his gumption, if nothing else. As far as the national parks, they had been made UN heritage sites a long time ago, and he didn't do that. Other presidents did that. So I don't know about him wanting to take the parks. I mean, there's so much bullshit out there now. It's really hard to know what's real and what's not. But, you know, look at the idea that he had to sign an executive order to give pastors freedom of speech. And isn't that guaranteed by the Bill of Rights? Okay. How come it's no longer a right? You know, to me, that's what people should be focusing on. You know, how the hell did we lose all of our rights in the first place? And why did we let them take our rights in the first place? You know, in truth, it all comes back to us. You know, the people created the countries, then they created the local communities, then they created the cities, then they created the states, then the states created the federal government, and then the federal government created itself as God. Okay? But in reality, none of that shit would exist if it weren't for our consent. We have to stop giving our consent to people to control and manipulate us. I mean, this is a no-brainer. This really is. Okay? So, folks, I love you. I'm sorry, I got to go. They're waiting at the door here. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey of self-discovery and cosmic enlightenment with Alex Collier. Your support means the world to us. If you found this video insightful, please show your appreciation by giving it a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon to receive notifications for future uploads. By doing so, you stay connected with the latest cosmic revelations and help us spread Alex Collier's profound teachings to a broader audience. Remember, every like, subscription, and bell click can awaken more minds and ignite a collective shift in consciousness. We encourage you to share your thoughts, reflections, and questions in the comments below as your engagement fuels the expansion of knowledge and fosters a vibrant community of truth seekers. Together, we can uncover the hidden truths of the universe and embark on a journey of cosmic transformation. Until we meet again, keep seeking, growing, and shining your light in the vast cosmic tapestry. If you would like to see Andromedan contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we host an online seminar 3 times a month on a Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information and dates of upcoming online seminars, please visit alexcollier.org. Please click on one of the above videos to seek more of Alex Collier's knowledge.